Not Easily Broken family. It's your girl Daphne again, and here with another video, a follow-up video from my previous video. So today, this video, I want to touch base on a few things. Few of the questions from my previous video, I am gonna touch base on those, but I also want to touch base on the response that I got since I posted my video, since I told my truth, since I am ready to share my story and I put this out there. It has been a lot. It has been overwhelming. There were positive comments, there were negative comments, but I just want to touch base on those few of those questions first, and then I would touch base on the comments that I got. So in my previous video, I stated some questions. I put some questions down, probably around 8 questions, that I want people, persons who went through an abuse, who have not said anything, or who is still going through an abuse and want to say something. I posted those questions that so that you can look at them, questions you may want to ask yourself and get answers to before you come out with your story. Before I had the courage to go to my parents and tell them what I went through, and other family members, or as in a whole, to put my story out there for the world to see, I had to go through a process. I had to accept the fact that I was sexually abused. I had to accept that I had to deal with, I should say, it's not my fault, because I blamed myself for a lot of years. I blamed others as well, people who probably wasn't even there, people who wasn't involved in hurting me. I had blamed them too. Anyway, one of the questions I had to ask myself is, why I might want to tell. Why do you want to tell people about your story after so long, or after you're going through this? Why do you want to tell them? So what I realize is, sexual abuse is not normal. Sexual abuse is not okay. But something I want people to know, persons to know, that it can be very important to tell somebody about your sexual abuse. Whether it happened in the past or it's still happening now, it's important to speak about it. I know here in Canada, sexual abuse is a crime. Some other countries, it's probably a crime too. And unfortunately, even if this part is sad, some countries doesn't care about sexual abuse victims. People who went through abuse, they don't care. I want to be able to help you take the steps, whatever steps is necessary for you to tell, so that you can get the help that I didn't get as a child, help that I had to get as an adult, or still getting as an adult. I want to be an emotional support, so that you'll be able to come out. If me is the bother in talking to help you come out with the truth, in order for you to get whatever professional support that you need, it is important to tell. Another question you may want to ask yourself: who do you tell? Who do you tell? Talking about abuse is not easy. Going to persons to tell about your abuse is not easy, because you do not know if that person is going to believe you. You do not know what to expect. So you have to think. You have to think about, who do I tell about my abuse? Please understand, it is always a good idea to think about who you might tell. Telling an adult, it's the best way of helping to make sure that the abuse stops. But sometimes these adults, they don't help you. Sometimes these adults, they dismiss you. Sometimes these adults, it's not there for you. But I also want you to know that it's no matter what, it's important that if you tell that person and you don't get the help from that person, you seek somebody else. It does not have to be a family member. It does not have to be somebody in that household. But try to find somebody you trust to tell your story to. It is important. Another question I had to ask myself: who do you trust, Daphne? Who do you trust? Remember, when I was younger, I got abused. I spoke about it. Nothing was done. So for me, I trusted no one. I trusted no one. I did not know who to go to, who to tell, if they would believe me, what would happen, but I trusted no one. But in the case that you have nobody that you trusted, I am here. I am here. I want you to be able to reach out to me. Look for somebody that you can talk to who show care and love to you. Somebody who you feel safe around. That can be a family member. It can be a friend, somebody you are close to. It can be a teacher, someone in authority, maybe a family doctor. You may feel better telling a stranger, and feel free to reach out. I have an email address. You can reach out to me. It's Daphne DeRoche, DaphneDeroche @gmail.com. Reach out to me via email if you feel better talking to a stranger. But please find the time to sit down and talk to someone. Do it alone. If you doesn't know how to start the conversation, here is a little tip. Start things off by saying, I have something important to tell you. Once you start like that, it might be easier for everything else to flow out. It might be easier for everything else to just come out. One other question I had to ask myself: what do you say? What do you say, Daphne? Mind you, it can be scary. It can be difficult. You may not be able to find the words. You may not be able to find the words to start. Because I remember when I had to tell, it has been over a year. I've been telling my dad, Dad, I have something to tell you. I have something that I want to talk to you about. And every time that would come out of my mouth, I can't find anything else to say. I would change the conversation because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to start the conversation. I also want you to understand that there is no right or wrong way. There is no right or wrong way. It took me a long time to learn that. If you do not have the courage to say the words, write it down. We are modern age now. Text it, email. But whatever you do, find the courage to say it. Another question I had to ask: what might happen when you tell? You can get an upset reaction from somebody that you tell. That person can be in shock after hearing your truth. But once that person cares for you, it is a normal reaction. It does not mean that that person doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that you need to blame yourself for that person being upset. I had to take a long time to realize that no matter what you say, you are not always going to have the same reaction. You're not going to get a reaction from somebody that you think in your head, okay, I'm going to say this and this is what they're going to reply to. No. I realized that I had to allow my parents, my brother, my family members who I told before I came out to the public, I had to give them time to process what I told them. And I think that they're still processing it, because it's not easy to hear a loved one, somebody that you love dearly, tell you that a family member or family members did something like this to them. My parents and I, we don't live in the same place. We don't live in the same country. So even as today's date, I had to give my parents time before I called them back. When I told my dad and I told my mom, I had to give them time. I could not talk to them the same day after I told them everything. I had to wait. And that is okay. That is okay as well, because they also need to process what you are just telling them about the abuse. Today I'm going to stop here with the questions, and I'm going to continue in another video. But before I go on, I want to say thank you to the people who has been reaching out, the one who have been giving me positive, who has been positive to me. I want to say thank you to those who has subscribed to my YouTube channel. I also want to say thank you to the people who has been giving me negative remarks, who have been asking questions that I maybe cannot answer, I should say. But I want to touch base on a few of those questions as well. Some persons ask, why did you wait until now? I waited until now because I did not have the courage. I did not have the strength. They also ask, did this really happen? Yes, it did. It happened. Not once, not twice, not thrice or 3 times, 4 times, but it did happen. Another question that was asked, do you know what you would be doing to your family? And instead of asking or answering that question, I want to ask you, the individuals who ask me, do you know what you're doing to your family? That person who, or persons who hurt me at that young age, were they thinking about our family? Were they thinking what would happen to me? I know that there are people in my family who is going to be hurt about this situation and about hearing this. But as I said before, and I would continue to say, I am going to tell my truth. It does not matter who doesn't like it or who doesn't want to hear it. I believe that I have a purpose in life, and then my purpose in life is helping people. And by helping people, it's telling my story, telling my truth. So if there are people in my family members who is not going to like me because I did this, I'm sorry, but I am not going to stop now. This is just the beginning. I am not going to stop now. And I want you guys to know, no matter what you say to me, no matter what you do, I would not be easily broken. I would continue my story. I would continue my truth. And I am going to be able to help persons who have gone through the same thing I did or still going through.